Hello there folks, well I'm here today with a beautiful lady. Her name is Kam Birdee, and I met her a few years ago through a mutual friend called Nick Story when I was down in London to see the Barefoot Doctor, and I've kept in touch with her on Facebook and since, and recently she started her own business as a kind of person who helps people, self-help and various methods that she uses for that. So I'm going to chat to her because I believe it's an important thing, people getting help with their problems and moving on in life, and people who can do that, to me are quite interesting. So how are you today, Kam?
I'm really good, thank you today, Billy. Really good. We've had, we've had rain today, so it's nice. We've had a beautiful week of sunshine, and today the rain's come down, so it's cooled everything off, and the garden's got rain, so it's good. I'm really good.
That's cool. So you've just you're in the process of moving out of one house and into another. You're on a temporary stop right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We're in my in-laws at the moment. It's quite an interesting experience. We've been here a week, and like any normal person, you experience the stresses of move and the challenges and moving stuff energetically, emotionally and physically. So it was good to be here where I've actually enjoyed cooking and baking and doing family stuff, looking after my family. It's actually been really lovely having that time out to serve in a different way.
Well, that's cool. I'm getting to know your soon-to-be in-laws, yeah? You're getting married soon.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're getting married this year. We're actually just making lists a couple of days ago of the people that we're going to invite. I'm going to start looking at venues, etc. So yeah, getting married soon, all happening this year.
That's good. Do you have a date set in mind?
No, not at all.
Right,
We've only just moved house.
Right.
We've only just moved house. We've got one step at a time.
Okay, that's cool. So recently you've started up a business, yeah? We'll talk a bit more into that, about your self-help, your healing venture, your business. But just to start off, can you tell us a bit about your background? Who are you? How would you describe yourself? That kind of thing.
Gosh. I'm actually a really normal, regular person, but people may define normal as very different to what I would describe normal. I've had a very experienced, interesting life, and my experiences have helped me become the person that I am today. I have a wonderful partner called Chris that we're going to get married this year. I have an absolutely gorgeous stepson, Sam, who's 17 next month. A lovely dog who's 6. And he's a gorgeous friend of mine, and it's just lovely being able to relate to a dog and having conversations with humans and dogs and how different the relationship is. And the dog just wants to be loved and cared for and has no real demands, whereas humans confuse and complicate life by having too many emotions. That's me. I'm happy. I live my life. I live my life with passion. I have the same challenges that most people have, and it's the way you address your challenges that I guess puts a better spin on your life, and the way you take, I think, a positive rather than a negative with any situation.
Yep, I believe that myself. It's always better to be in the positive side, and if that helps just a fraction to make a better outcome, then it's got to be the way to go. Can you tell us a little bit about your childhood? Because obviously you've got Indian background, is that right?
Yes, I have. I had a very interesting childhood. I'm one of 5 children, and my parents are first generation India. They came over from India in the 60s, and it must have been an incredible challenge for them coming over from India to England and experiencing racism, I expect, and differentiation, and not being in their own community. And their beliefs and their virtues and their values were very much part of our beliefs, our virtues and values. I grew up speaking 2 languages, Punjabi and English. Right. So it's sometimes a bit of a battle, not really knowing who I was and what I was. You know, as a child, you look back as an adult, from an adult looking back as a child, you think that must have been really challenging and confusing. And you can understand how your childhood can have such a great influence on your later years.
Yeah, I think we're all probably carrying a lot of stuff from our childhood that's unresolved and whatnot, and that's what these various healing methods that you employ can help to release and kind of come to terms with in a lot of ways, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, it's, my past was my past. It's not who I am now. It's through my past experiences and having healed those aspects of myself from getting to know myself that I can now help people clear their issues. I think understanding yourself is a first step, and being responsible for yourself and your actions and how you respond to situations that helps you to enable other people. You mentioned my website, my background. It was a childhood that most people would have had in a family. They have different ideas, they have different ideals. We grew up, we had an only brother, and through my own experience of life and my own healing methods, I realized that pre-birth, my mum wanted a son. And by looking back and the way I was as a girl, born as a girl, and not being the son that my parents wanted on an unconscious level, I did everything I could to be that son. So I felt being a girl was a sin. It was wrong, because girls were not necessarily going to be carrying the bloodline. Their job was to be subservient and look after the male. That's what I believed as a child, and that's what happened around me with females around me. The experiences of being a girl and not honouring and not being honoured for being a female, not being honoured for being the creator in that sense of bringing new life and, the intuition, the female energy and the love and the nurturing, because it wasn't part of the reality to which my mum and my sisters were born into. So if you can imagine, all their life they've been told, you're a female, or had those belief systems of what a female is, and that's been impressed upon your child. The child's been born up into a different generation with different values and cultures, and actually in an environment where you're not just Indians and you don't have that strict upbringing, you're going to question. As a kid, as I said, through the influence of wanting to be a son, I was a tomboy. I was an absolute tomboy. I wanted to be my brother.
I was going to ask, was that you naturally being a tomboy, or just you think it was your family imposing that kind of, the wanted you to be a child, so you kind of went towards that because of them?
I don't think it was my family expecting it at all. It was, again, on an unconscious level, pre-birth, I wanted to be a boy. So if you look at the mindset of somebody on an unconscious, a child wanting to be accepted and wanting to be loved because you believed as a child, being a boy, you're going to get more affection and more love and more approval. I used to wear my brother's clothes. I emulated my brother. I just wanted to be, seriously, his cast-offs were what I wore. And I hated being around girls. Girls were horrible. They were really, really horrible growing up. So I used to hang out with boys more. And that was all based on my beliefs, my unconscious beliefs, and not what my family wanted.
When you say hanging around girls, the girls were horrible, is that you're like Indian girlfriends and their kind of perception and the way they acted, or the girls in general in the English town you lived?
Girls in general. I don't see myself as any separation in colour. I just see myself as a normal human being, and if people are going to start looking at colour, then there's going to create separation. But the girls, they were just vile. They'd pick on me. I was bullied. I was really bullied at school. Just a really crazy memory. And it's amazing how that can have an effect on you when you're growing up. If you look at it, it's absolutely mad. I was eating some beef flavoured crisps. I was probably about 6 years old, and these girls were like, oh my God, Indian girls, you can't eat beef, because Indians don't eat beef. And I was like, well, they're just crisps. And something like that created a separation, and girls would pick on me because I'd eat beef flavoured crisps. But I was always different. I wasn't like all girls. I didn't do girly stuff. I was very much connected as a child. I remember having memories and conversations with God, the Creator, or whoever it would be. I'd be my invisible friends. I remember so clearly having those conversations and being connected and not actually wanting to be alive. Couldn't handle being born in this world, being born in this lifetime. And that challenge of not being alive stayed with me well into my 20s, of not actually wanting to be here and being in that space of being with the Creator, not having to have a physical life.
I think, you could say there's some kind of, you could call them old souls, these people who come into this life have had many lifetimes, and I think it's all different peoples with different, experiences in this world. and you've probably came from this. To me, for what you're doing now, it's like you've almost had a mission in this life, you know. And these high souls that come in, they have these experiences they have to go through in their youth to kind of gain the wisdom to allow them to achieve what they're supposed to do in the long run, you know. So that kind of not wanting to be here was almost like you couldn't bear the pain of this world because you've kind of come from a higher place or whatever, if you know what I mean.
You know, you hit the nail right on the head, and this is where what I learned from doing, again, all the self-work that I've done. In this lifetime, I chose to forget absolutely everything. So it's been a complete new experience of learning how to walk, how to write, how to speak, how to behave. What's this? What's that? Why would you do that? Why does people... Everything was a question. Everything was a mission. And by forgetting everything and having to relearn everything and remember, and by going deep within my soul and connecting to myself, that's where I've actually gained all this wisdom. You know, I've been reading so many books for so many years. I've been reading, and I never stop reading and learning. And these books are like, well, I know that anyway. Yeah, but I remember that. That's what we did in previous lifetimes. But I didn't know that. On a conscious level, you don't know it.
Yeah.
So yes, it is. These experiences, it's remembering. And, you know, some of the conversations I have with people, they think, well, how do you know that? I just know.
Mm-hmm.
I just know. I don't know how. I just know. And I follow my intuition. It's that connection, and it's being that old soul. Mm-hmm. And having the wisdom and the experience to be able to help others from that and tapping into that universal knowledge. And it's great.
Yeah, it's funny when you were talking about being bullied. I read on your website before, I automatically assumed it was boys, but I was quite surprised you said girls there. So you were bullied by girls. Was that because of your race as well? Yeah? I mean, basically, did you get any sexual harassment growing up, you know, like kind of up in your teenage years or whatever? I just think it's so hard.
Well, I had racial...
Yeah, carry on.
So it's the racial abuse. The racial abuse was there definitely from a very, very young age. Again, you know, you're in England and people are ignorant. So therefore, you've been called a packy, you've been called all sorts of interesting names, and you're just thinking, actually, that doesn't define who I am. My colour doesn't define who I am. And then, you know, I was bullied throughout my work life. Sexual harassment, absolutely. It wasn't pleasant. You're not quite sure why people that you work with would behave in such a manner, and you don't really know what to say or what to do because you don't know whether people are going to believe you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's happening to me again. It's happening, and I'm questioning why did they say that? Why did that actually happen? And you don't know who to approach because, one, you may be penalised and ostracised for actually making a complaint in the first place. And two, I worked in a male-dominated industry. I worked in construction. Mm-hmm. And so people were great. I enjoyed my career. But the sheer ignorance and people believing that they can speak to you in a way that they feel is fit. No. And again, you know, women standing up for themselves, well, you don't go around flaunting yourself and saying, hello, excuse me, why don't you chuck sexual harassment at me? You're just living a normal life, you know. I didn't go out looking for any of this. But again, it was all part of the experience, and it was unpleasant. It made you question yourself. You lose your self-esteem. You're not quite sure whether you want to be going out with these people and being in direct conversation with these people because you just don't know what's going to come next.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to somebody yesterday about the fact that being a kind of white male's pretty easy in this world, you know, everything, all these minorities and, you know, women and stuff, it's just another layer of life that makes things a lot more tough, I think, so probably tough and jump in the long run though, yeah?
It really did. It really made me hone into boundaries and speaking my truth. Yeah. You know, I don't have to listen to what people throw at me. I have a choice in firstly how I respond to it, and secondly how I actually respond to them and say, no, this isn't good enough. I don't really need to be around you. I've had to let go of relationships with people because they've been pretty abusive, they've been unkind. And again, it comes to boundaries. I choose to have the people I want in my life. I don't have to have people in my life who are being rude or unkind.
Yeah, but it's tough to kind of make that line sometimes. As you say, you kind of have to learn to stick up for yourself through probably having relationships where you've got to the end of your tether, and then you've had to learn through that experience not to carry it into other ones. Like you talked about, I think on your website, about one particular abusive relationship you were in. Can you tell us a bit more about that and how that kind of, helped your process of kind of self-growth?
Absolutely. I met this guy. I was actually on the rebound from another relationship. Again, had no support from anyone or anything around me. I was very much on my own with that one. Who do I go to? It's a mixed relationship. Mixed relationships don't work. Pride kicks in. Who do I talk to? Who do I have conversation with? This guy was very charming, very lovely in the beginning. And I was only going to actually rent his home for 6 months, and then we fell into a relationship because his move fell through. And we ended up in a relationship, and I learned a heck of a lot. I started going on holidays there. Actually, I started skiing when I came into that relationship. But slowly but surely, you don't know it's happening to you because it's so subtle. I realized that I didn't have that many friends around me, and I realized that I was being penalized for being who I am. It was his issues. I was being told I was fat. And I was like, how can I possibly be fat? Which then brought up issues from when I was a child, from being told I was fat. Mm-hmm. And I slimmed down and lost so much weight. And again, I realized that I was actually being controlled by somebody. It was mental abuse. I was being controlled by somebody mentally. And because I'm quite a sensitive person, again, you take it personally. I didn't quite know what to do, so I just followed on in this relationship, which was so degrading. Mm-hmm. And it was so, to me, it was like, I love this person. Why are they doing this to me? Why are they treating me this way? Why would somebody actually do that? You love them. And I didn't know how to get out of it. And again, because I didn't have that network of friends or family around me, I didn't know whether it was right or not. You're in a relationship and you think, well, you've made your bed, you lie in it, this is what you're stuck with. Yeah. And at that time, I was just like, well, this is the best. I need to be grateful for what I've got in this relationship. I've got a roof over my head. But what happened was a friend of mine came to stay with me and said, Kam, you're not supposed to be in a relationship in this way. This isn't normal. Mm-hmm. This is an abusive relationship. So it was my wake-up call, and I thought, well, why am I allowing this man to treat me this way? Mm-hmm. So it took me a few months to get out of the whole relationship and step away. It took me a good few years to get over the emotional and the mental damage that had caused on an unconscious level. But I'm so grateful to that guy because I learnt so much. He came along as a teacher. It took me a while to get over the whole experience, as I said earlier. But he was one of my greatest teachers because that's where I learnt boundaries. That's where I learnt self-worth, self-acceptance. I learnt how to cook. I learnt how to do gardening, all those wonderful experiences. As I said, I went on holidays. And I really learnt more and more about myself and what I didn't want in a relationship and what I was prepared to accept and not accept. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I learned a lot. And what was really interesting, because we spoke earlier and previously about past lives and past life. It's a therapy that I use, past life regression. Yep. When I started doing the past life regression, I went into my past lives with this guy because I wanted to know what the influence was from the past life to this life. Yep. And predominantly it was curiosity. Mm-hmm. He was my father in a previous life, and I disobeyed him. I know, bonkers, isn't it? Yeah. I disobeyed him. So it was interesting that I actually healed my aspect of my past life with him, so that I was no longer carrying any pain or suffering. But he was a right horrible person. I'm choosing the right words. I know I've interviewed. He was so horrible to me because I disobeyed him. I mean, he literally skinned me alive in my previous life. What? I was from... Yeah, my life was, I was in austerity. We were very, very, very rich, wealthy family, very rich family, and I was his only daughter. And I played music, and I had servants, and I had maids, and I fell in love with the stable boy. Oops!
Yeah, bad girl.
And Daddy didn't like it, so I was punished.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that subservient, that control, and that mental abuse he brought into our relationship. Which again, you've got that energetic connection from a previous life, and a soul connection. And me going back into that place of being controlled and not being worthy and not being good enough. So that actually had such a major impact on this lifetime. So by healing that, I was able to heal that past life, but also my life with him in this life. So I don't hold any anger or grudges or bitterness. I just thank him. I mean, I only saw him once since, and this is going back about 10, 11 years. I've only seen him once. But if I saw him again, I'd thank him. I'd absolutely thank him, but I don't hold any anger or bitterness. It was all part of the experience. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, but I agree with that. I think certain people come into our lives, first of all, to teach us about ourselves. I think all relationships and all forms are about that. Obviously the more personal, emotional ones teach you more. But there's also that element of quite a few of these ones are people from past lives and kind of karma to burn off and to kind of, heal, as you say, yeah? So it's just a different way of looking at things that we don't really talk about in the West, or this kind of idea,
No, we don't.
Yeah, so
I think past life experiences. Sorry.
I was just going to ask you about this past life. How can you find out you were this person in a past life and that information? How did you get such detailed information? What's the process for that?
A lot of people do past life regression in so many different ways.
Okay.
The way I work in past life regression, I bring a few bits together. I'm a shaman, so I work in a shamanic way. We go on journeys. When you do a shamanic journey, in shamanism, everything is happening at the same time. Time, space, reality. You can step in and out of past lives whenever you want. And through journeying, you get out of it in a universal space, in a cosmic reality. And it's through the journeying that I went into my past lives, because I've done this with all my family to heal everything in past lives, so that I know that if any challenges come up, it's not my issue. It's their issue. So I know that I've healed all my past lives with the people who I'm in direct contact with now. So after this session, we can do some past life work if you want to, Billy, and you can experience it yourself. You can't necessarily talk about it, you've got to experience it. Okay. There are many books out there. There's a beautiful book by Dr. Brian Weiss, Many Lives, Many Masters, where he was a psychiatrist and he's working with some clients and he's noticing the relationships influence from past lives and the connection to past lives. And to me, your past life, it does have an impact on this life, because like you mentioned earlier, you've got the karma, but you've got the energetic attachment. From past lives, you can experience and bring back the knowledge that you had with that person or people or situations, but equally, you can heal that aspect of your soul, so your life. So you're not carrying those lessons to repeat, you're not carrying the karma to repeat. So if it's already been dealt with and you had it in that past life, don't bring it into this one. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Because it's going to be a challenge if you're going over the same lesson again. So to me, it was no longer bringing those lessons, but it's bringing back the teachings, it's bringing back the wisdom, and the wisdom of who you were and what you experienced, and bringing it into your now. So it's bringing back the positive. So I find it very, very fascinating, but equally, it's a fantastic healing tool.
Yeah, I never really thought of it as a healing tool in that way. I just thought of it as a bit of interest, I wonder what I'd done, but now that you've explained it a bit more, it does make more sense, just who we were and the kind of, like I was talking to somebody once a psychic who said that this particular girl I was seeing, basically in the past 2 previous lives, that I'd always been keen on her and she'd always refused me, and now it's up to me to kind of walk away from her to kind of make her realise in the next life, after this one, that not to let me go, kind of thing. But do you think that's necessary to kind of wait till the next life to sort it out, or as you're saying, in this life can that be healed and done effectively?
What you can do is explore. I mean, you said you've been to a psychic, but I think finding your own truth is always the greatest, because you see it for yourself. So you can actually go and explore your previous lives with her. And by exploring those, you can heal whatever aspects you need to heal on your side.
Yeah.
So that you know that you're not carrying any of that, that karma or the learning. You know, you said she stepped away, you need to step away. So again, it's totally up to you whether you choose to follow the advice that you've been given or the suggestions, or you explore yourself and see if there's anything that you can heal in this life based on your previous lives. Because personally, for me, yeah, curiosity would kick in, but I'd rather heal my aspect of myself now and whatever happened in the relationships, so that that's not being carried off in this life, so that at least you know that you're true and authentic to yourself. Yeah,
that's a good point, yeah. So I'm going to come back again later on to talk about a bit more of your different healing techniques, but right now, when you walked away from this guy, basically, after a couple of years, you kind of started going into the corporate world and being quite a success in that, yeah?
Yeah.
And you got kind of the stress built up, and you basically had an illness. Would you like to go into that and that kind of process, what happened to you?
Absolutely. As I said, this guy was an amazing teacher. I remember him saying, just as I was about to leave him, he said, you will never live in a house like this. You will never earn a good salary. You will never drive a fast car. You will never be successful. And I looked at him and I thought, you watch me. You just watch me. And it was the motivation. It's always like the motivation that I needed, because it's like, there you go, daring me, because I'll show you. And I did. Within 6 months, I completely changed my career. I doubled my salary. I was driving a fast car. I was living in a big home. And it was just like, you watch me. You know, it was, it really was, you know, on an unconscious level. And it's probably the kick of the backside that I needed, really, to prove myself that I could do it. And yeah, so I got myself quite an executive role, and I was living the high life, and I lived for my work. I absolutely lived to work. Everything, my work was my everything, because I thought, this is it. This is my life. This is what I'm about. It's the kudos. It's the fast car. And I gave my employers absolutely everything. Everything. I worked ridiculous hours. The area I covered were 20 counties, really, that I covered. And I just did what I felt was right, and I did it my way. I'm very much of doing it my way, and I'm very much a leader rather than a follower. I find new ways and new ideas to do stuff, and it works for me. And again, I mentioned earlier, it's about being authentic and true to yourself. So I worked stupid hours. You know, I was working 80, 90 hours a week. It'd be on a Friday evening, and I'm checking emails, and I'm thinking, hold on. What am I doing checking emails on a Friday evening? I should be out with my mates, you know, weekends, emails, work. And, you know, if you put that much energy into your own business, then obviously you're going to be having an incredibly successful business, but I was putting it into somebody else's. Yep. The company was becoming so much more recognized. The brand was greater. They were getting more return from their investment in me. Until one day, unfortunately, I ended up in A&E.
Yeah, that's so good.
I was very, very ill. I was very, very ill. I had no idea what had happened, and I remember calling and saying, I've got a meeting, and I'm sorry I can't be at the meeting because I've just got to get into hospital. And I was in hospital for 3 weeks, and they wouldn't diagnose anything. I already had a keyhole op anyway, they were looking to see what was going off within me. I was doped up on morphine. And as it transpired, 3 weeks, as I called the Big Brother house in this hospital, I realised, because I was so much drugged up on morphine, you can't have conversation with anybody, nobody's listening to you, you're in a hospital bed. I got off it and found out that I had private healthcare, and the following day I went into a private hospital and I had a cyst in my ovary, and it was the size of a golf ball. It hemorrhaged. And yeah, I know, massive. And she was going to operate the following morning.
My God.
So that was a big shock of burning the candle at both ends, having no life of my own, and having a massive gynae operation and not knowing whether I'd be able to have children.
Yep.
So that was the biggest slap in the face that I could have possibly ever had. And
so that makes you reevaluate everything at that point, yeah?
yeah, big slap in the face, really. You know, it's just like, oh my God, what have I been doing these last so many years? I've been working like a slave. I have no life. I have no relationship with anybody. And what is my purpose? So while I was in hospital, I was bought a book by the Barefoot Doctor. It was 108 Blessings. And that kind of got me thinking, what is my life all about? I was off work for 3 months. My body couldn't cope. Had a massive operation. The trauma of the operation really knocked me for six. Actually, being off work and looking for my purpose was what was transpiring during these 3 months. So I started reading more. I started questioning my life and evaluating what my purpose was and what I was doing and why I was on the planet. And I went on a Tai Chi retreat with Barefoot Doctor. And at the time, it was an amazing experience. We were in Spain. I was on 24 tablets a day just to keep me going. I know, and a TENS machine.
Oh, God.
And I could hardly walk. You know, to walk 100 meters without a walking stick was a challenge.
Wow.
And we were doing the Tai Chi out there. The waters were beautiful. The people were beautiful. And by the end of the week, I was running. I was actually running.
God's sake.
And I was on 6 tablets by the time I left.
Yeah.
And I was on a path of absolute healing. It opened, you know, Barefoot Doctor was a catalyst to my spiritual awakening.
Yeah.
I really started looking and questioning life. There was more to life than the 9 to 5 or the 6 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock in the evening job. There was a life out there. There was experiences to be had. So when we came back from the Tai Chi retreat, I started doing his School for Warriors, and I really followed him, read his books, the invisibility training. I started looking into Reiki training, and I became more aware. I came more connected, and it was this massive light bulb moment of, wow, I'm actually experiencing life now rather than existing.
Yeah.
So I just learned, and I trained, and I trained, and I trained, and the last years I haven't stopped learning. The last 8 years, learning, training, courses, workshops, forget holidays and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everything I earned was on my learning.
So you're basically
And the more I learned,
working at the same time, but then did you go back to the corporate world or whatever? Did you reduce the hours and spend your free time more on learning this stuff, and it became a passion? Is that what you're saying?
I wanted to give up that job. Oh, I was so desperate. I didn't want to be part of it, but I needed the income to learn, to grow. And it's when you've been in that job for such a long time, it's very attractive. But there's more to my life. I was gaining a balance. There was an interest. There was a goal at the end of the tunnel. That there was more to life than working and putting in all these long hours. You know, I was promoted within my work, and I looked at things differently. The relationships that I had became incredibly different, and I had more purpose. I had more purpose. So I've been doing my work part-time for the last 5 years. My healing work, and it's only of late that I've taken it up full-time. And it's been quite an interesting transition for 13 years in that corporate world to working for yourself or working for the universe. It's a massive transition.
Yeah, it sure is. I'm sure you're still kind of taking baby steps all the time to kind of grow into it as you kind of go full-time, yeah?
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's exciting. It's fun. I'm learning more. I'm wanting to meet more people, and I'm just ready to share the experiences, just ready to help people find who they are and live a happier life.
Yep, I think that's what we're all searching for, you know.
Yeah, especially, you know, it's that in pursuit for happiness. People are constantly looking externally for happiness, but that comes from within.
Yeah,
you know, but so many people who are in relationships, and they're looking for that one relationship that brings them that something, that happiness, but it's external to them. And when that person goes away, they're so unhappy, and they start questioning themselves, and they're so desperate to have that person back in their life, despite it being an abusive relationship. And when I speak with these people, I say, well, actually happiness comes from within. You've got to love yourself first so you know what love is. And when your happiness is external to you and it goes away, well, then the happiness is gone.
Yep.
But when you're happy within you, then the happiness will always stay within you as an individual.
And
it will never ever go away.
You tend to attract more happy people around you as well as a kind of side benefit, you know. You're putting out that energy.
Well, again, it's what you're projecting. It's what you're projecting energetically. If you're desperately wanting a relationship, it's almost written on your forehead. Yeah. I'm desperate, and everything is energy, and people can sense that. Yeah, everything is energy, and everyone wants to be part of. Everyone's in such a rush to be whatever they want to be, and they're always seeking for something. But if I can just share, whatever you're seeking is seeking you. You know, that's something that Rumi said. But it's all inside you. Whatever you're looking for is within you. Connect with your heart. Connect with who you are. Find yourself as an individual.
Yep.
And it's going through all the work of all the, everything you said about my website, and the blame and the victim and all of that. That's who I was. They were my beliefs, based on other people's beliefs, based on what I was taught and what I learned. But by going within myself and doing all the learning and the training and the self-healing, I am no longer that victim. I am no longer those beliefs. I am no longer the other people's truth. And I think when you start going on that journey and that pathway of seeking yourself and finding your truth, you realize that you're not actually influenced by other people's decisions and ways.
Yeah.
And you become true and authentic with who you are.
And facing the shadow self, all these things that we kind of run away from, our fears and insecurities and stuff, turning around and basically dealing with them.
I think you've got to look at every aspect of yourself. Your shadow self is the one that you learn from the most, and that's where a lot of my deep work came from. On my website it says, my demons, I was facing my demons. My demons is my shadow side, that side of me that I didn't want to look at, the ego, the everything that I didn't really want to be present in. But by looking at that aspect and actually acknowledging that aspect and healing that aspect, I know that within myself, I'm so much lighter. I don't have that darkness of the shadow side. I'm in a lighter place, and I feel on an energetic level much lighter as an individual. We are light. Yeah. So why carry that crap? Why carry all those traumas? It's unnecessary.
Yep. So you moved from the corporate world and you're now full time in the business. You've got this really beautiful website with lots of great testimonials on there for the work you've been doing in the past 5 years. I'd just like you to go into the different methods of healing that you've studied and that you help people with. The techniques.
Well, past life regression we've already spoken about.
Yep.
So hypnosis is used to work with the unconscious mind to release negative behaviours, belief systems, and bring in the positive, reconnecting to who you are. Because in the unconscious mind, that is the essential hub. Whatever goes off in the unconscious mind is what happens in your day-to-day life. That's what you're influenced by. So if you've got sabotage programs or you've got influences that are negative, they're going to lead your every move effectively. And that goes on unnoticed. So it's changing behaviours and putting in new suggestions of positive behaviours, of positive beliefs and positive ways of being. And it's very, very effective. And then there's the energy work, there's Reiki and the shamanic work. Well, Reiki is universal life force energy. And the way I work with Reiki and shamanic work is being connected on a cosmic level. The shamanic learning and the path that I live and walk now, which is my truth, has really brought all the therapies and all the learning that I've had together. It's been connected to this world and all the other worlds. It's been connected on a cosmic level. It's really allowed me to become aware and awake and alive, really being here and now in the present and looking at how everything influences everything. And the way you are as an individual energetically, how you project yourself, how you present yourself is sensed by people. So, we spoke earlier about people being in a relationship and being desperate, and you said about what's on the forehead, and we spoke about that. Well, that's all energy. So, you know, you meet someone for the first time, you either like them or don't like them. And sometimes when you meet someone, you're thinking, gosh, I don't really want anything to do with you. Well, it's looking at what's going off energetically. We all sense each other's energy. So very simply, we go to the supermarket and we're really happy and joyful, and we come out feeling really, really miserable. Well, you've picked up anyone else's energy.
Yep.
And what I say to people is just put a bubble around yourself so that you're not affected by other people's energetic levels. You know, have an argument with somebody and this dialogue's going off and you're both chucking stuff at each other. Well, words are energy. And that energy, it clings. It sticks to places. So, you know, you feel crap. And, you know, your home, your room and all that sort of stuff, the places are full of energy. It's like going into an old church and you can sense things. It's all energy. So I connect with people on a very, very deep level, if they want the deep work. And the NLP, again, it's reframing words. As an example, oh my God, somebody would be saying, I drove 4 hours to get to XYZ place, and I'm so exhausted, and now I've got a day's work to do, and I've got all this, and they can look at it on a negative, okay? I change that to, oh my God, how amazing, you've driven 4 hours and you're going to do a full day's work. Gosh, you must be full of beans. It's just changing your terminology and changing the mindset. So I'm very much working with people, getting to know them, getting to know influences, different therapies, to determine what would work for each person.
So you basically got like a little tool bag basically of stuff you can do when you talk to the person. You figure out which is the best one for that person, or the best 2 or 3. Absolutely, because you know it could be that when you're working with somebody, the issue that they came with isn't actually the real issue. And when you go deeper, you find out the real issue, the underlying issue that affects whatever behaviour they want to change. You know, we're all different, we're all unique, and I think it's important to have a toolbox of different therapies and different tools to be able to offer the best solution to the client. And equally, I don't wave a magic wand. You know, people have been carrying their stuff for so many years. I'd love to be able to wave a magic wand and say, right, that's it, one session, you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But they've been carrying this stuff. And like I say, when you start going, you know, we're all like onions. When you start peeling back the layers, you find something else, and then you find something else, and then you find something else.
Yeah.
And when you start clearing that stuff, you recognise all the stuff that's been hiding. And it's that stuff that we tend to uncover.
I just wanted to ask you briefly about the shamanic healing in particular. You went to South America, was it Peru or Brazil?
I went to Peru.
I've seen some pictures on Facebook and you look like you were having a great time. What did you do there? Did you do any ayahuasca there, or what was the particular point of that trip?
The shamanic journey, I'd been studying shamanism here in England for a few years on a very, very deep training course where we learned many, many different healing modalities through it. So soul retrieval, psychic pomp, all sorts of wonderful therapies. And during my work here, I was given, on a vision quest, let's say, I was given a message that I'm going to be going to South America to work with the indigenous peoples. And I said, okay, I put it out there to the universe and said, okay, I want to go to South America, wherever it's going to be. And I have this calling. I tend to follow my intuition a lot. So when it came up that there was going to be a convergence to South America, my palpitations going off like, boom, boom, I'm going. And bless him, Chris was like, oh, well, I want to go. And I said, yeah, right, you can go. I said, but I'm going. And I was very much in my path and my truth of, oh my goodness me, this has happened. So we went for the journey, went for the healing, went for the meditation, and went for the ceremonies. Now, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what was going to happen. We had a particular diet before we went over. And to me, working with the medicine, because it is medicine,
of course, yeah,
was to gain a deeper understanding of myself, my purpose. And the medicine is the mother of all medicines. It's the medicine. It's Gaia to me. And my experiences were absolutely amazing. Again, it heals on such a deep, deep level. In a lot of people.
Yep, it knows what your body needs at that particular time. kind of thing, and knows what to kind of, bring out of you and bring to the light so you can purge it out of you, yeah?
To me, it really helped me further connect to my feminine self.
Okay.
Really honour my divinity, being a female, and connecting to that feminine energy. Because remember, I worked in the corporate world, and that was incredibly masculine. So you emulate the masculine energy. And from being a kid, I wanted to be, I was a tomboy. So by really connecting to my vulnerability, which was being a female, but being strong in being a female, and bringing that nurturing, loving side and the intuition and the care, and it was absolutely phenomenal. It was beautiful. I met some amazing, amazing people who were on their own journeys. I was doing healings for people out there while I was actually out there. I was doing my own healings on people to help them move forwards. And the centre there is to help people.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking, when
in
you're
this day and
looking
age,
for answers.
Yeah. Carry on.
When you're looking for answers, something I read the other day about meditation. Sometimes Google hasn't all the answers. People Google it, everything, they Google everything. And when you meditate, when you go within yourself, to me it is intuitive. I followed my instinct, I followed my heart, and I knew I needed to be there. So I went, and we'll go again. It's going to happen again anyway. I love the people out there. And whatever will transpire, will transpire. I'm totally open. It just made me so much more aware, so much more cosmically connected to everything energetically around me. Not just, it's not just planet Earth. It's not just the physical humans. It's been connected to nature. It's been connected to the sea. It's been connected to all of the elements, the past lives and the ancestors. And I think the learning from the indigenous people is priceless.
Yep.
It's priceless.
It's getting more and more priceless in this day and age. I think it's highly valuable, and basically it's essential for people. It's not essential, but it's a great tool for people to clear out all this crap. We said we're bodies of light. I've took the medicine 13 times, and I definitely notice the difference in myself now than before it. It's kind of all those patterns of stress and thoughts that we carry around with us. It seems to be existing on a much lighter vibration after taking that, because when you go through lots of stuff, you kind of accumulate it in your etheric body or whatever. And to me, anyway, it helped kind of clear out lots of crap. Then you go and build some more up, So that's why it helps to take it every so often, I guess. Well,
again, it's recognizing that is a medicine, and it will go wherever it needs to go, and it will heal whatever it needs to heal. It's trusting and surrendering to the medicine, and knowing that, the plant kingdom has been here a lot longer than the humans have been here. The knowledge and the wisdom, Mother Earth, the knowledge and the wisdom that lies within the earth, and the vibrations of the plants, and the vibrations of the rocks and the crystals. Humans cannot just attain that by picking it up. They have to be connected to it on an energetic level and learn from it. You look at a garden, and I share this with some of my clients and my students. You look at a garden, you plant a garden, and you've got all these lovely plants next to each other. They're not nudging each other and saying, "Oh, hold on, I'm here first. This is my plot of land. You can't be here. I want to get there first." They live in perfect harmony. It rains, it snows, the sun's shining, the wind blows. They don't whinge, they don't moan, they just get on with it. And they grow into beautiful, beautiful flowers or plants. If only humans would learn from that.
Yep.
We're all connected.
Yep. I think humans have got another challenge with certain demonic entities trying to parasite on us and stuff like that, but that's probably a talk for another time,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
So there's something called, we talked briefly before one time about TFT, this tapping thing, yeah? And there's EFT as well.
Yeah.
Do you ever use that?
I do. Well, there are a lot of other modalities that I'm trained into that I haven't put onto the website because you can't put everything on.
Okay.
People get confused, and it's using intuition and bringing all the other therapies that I've learned, and instead I've trained in probably another 6, 7 that I haven't put into my website. So EFT's emotional freedom technique is about tapping into certain meridian points around the body, and it's releasing emotional trauma. So when people tend to, let's say, have an argument, they tense up. Well, that's all energy. Mm-hmm. So that tension, that energy is still trapped within the body, but when you tap on certain meridian points, you can release that. And EFT is what I'm trained into. But TFT, I haven't trained, but I do use it. When I had an interview a few months ago with BBC Radio Leicester, I was told on the Friday I had an interview, and Monday was the interview, and had the phone call, and I started feeling quite anxious, and I'm thinking, wow, where's this come from? What's actually going off here? So I contacted my mentor, Gabriella, and said, look, I need to get rid of this. I've got an interview on Monday. Help. So can you? And she practices TFT, which is thought field therapy.
Okay.
You actually go into the thought energetically to release the trauma. So you've gone on a much deeper level. And it connected me to a memory of being a 5-year-old and not being good enough. Okay. So having that radio interview, it's amazing how this impression of, a 5-year-old to speak her truth, really, to find always being told to shut up, always being told you're not good enough, how that had a profound effect later on in life. Jeepers, if I'd healed all of that years ago, then I'd be in a completely different place, but then I wouldn't have had the experience. Yeah. So that had stopped me from speaking my truth. So by using TFT and going into the deeper memory of what was going off on an energetic level, I was able to release that. And it was pretty amazing. So, if you want to experience it, then I know Gabriella Birdee, she's trained it. Quite a few people are trained into it. It's not something that I want to learn personally, because I could spend the rest of my life training more and more and not actually doing.
Yeah.
So I'd rather do than train more. I've got enough tools, and there are other therapists that people can work with. Mm-hmm. But it's an amazing tool.
Mm-hmm. You say some of your expertise on your website. Your expertise is like in helping people with stress and public speaking and finding their purpose. Yeah. Absolutely. Would you like to go into that a little bit? Tell us about that.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, stress, having experienced stress, it's not something you buy for a supermarket shelf. It happens, you experience it, and people experience stress in so many different levels. And if a person is stressed, you guarantee the people within their environment will also feel that stress.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm sure if you've been around somebody who's stressed, you can feel all this energy going off around you. Well, that will affect people. So what I do is I work with people and try and understand what's influencing their stress levels, what stress looks like for them. And we get down to the bottom of it and actually help them release the stress, understand the patterns that are going off within them to be in control of the stress so they don't feel so stressed, and releasing the influences of the stress as well. Mm-hmm. And then public speaking, it's about speaking your truth as well. Going to an interview, making a presentation, doing an interview like we're doing now, is being able to use your voice. A lot of people don't speak their truth. They suppress their feelings and their emotions, and they don't know how to express themselves. They just shove it under the carpet. Yep. So public speaking is being confident. It's having the self-esteem. It's having the self-belief to know that whatever you've got to say, someone will listen to it. And again, these are all issues that I've had in the past. Mm-hmm. So you've got to hone in on something.
This isn't public speaking necessarily on a stage then. It's basically wherever you are in public, being true to yourself and having the courage to speak what's on your mind without, being brazen about it, but just being secure in yourself to know yourself to do that.
It's both, Billy. It's both. It's knowing yourself, speaking your truth, and being comfortable expressing yourself, but also speaking on a stage. I'm putting together training modules to help people be on stage, whether it's public speaking on a stage, whether it's doing an interview, whether it's doing a presentation in front of a group of people presenting your product. I help people train so they know how to stand, their posture in expressing themselves and actually engaging with an audience. I've been to breakfast meetings in the past where people are falling asleep because they're just so not engaged with the speaker because the person hasn't been trained in that way. So it's both of them.
Okay.
It's both aspects, you know, speaking your truth as an individual, but also being able to be comfortable to speak on stage within people and groups and being able to express what you've got to say. And then you said happiness or finding your purpose. That again comes to finding who you are. What is it that makes you tick? You know, what is it that really, really brings you to life? What are you passionate about? Are you doing your job because you need to earn an income and you want to pay bills? Or are you doing your job because you absolutely love it and you're serving and you're giving something back? So having been in the role of having a job because I had to pay the bills, to actually doing a job where it's rewarding, it's fulfilling, I'm giving something back to the world. It's helping people finding that true happiness within who they are and living a life with purpose rather than living a life just for existing.
I think that's important what you said. I think it's important what you said there about finding your purpose is. It's not just that your purpose for you, it's actually, I think everyone's higher purpose involves helping others in some way or some kind of service to others, you know? I think that's... Absolutely,
it really is. Well, again, you can have a life of existence, paying bills, doing a job that you absolutely hate, or you can go out there and do something that you love, whether that's serving in a supermarket, whether that's collecting bills, whether that's gardening, whether that's cooking lovely food, whether that's being a mother, father, whatever it may be. When you're in that space of being in your purpose, you're only going to be expressing joy. You've got no one to whinge about, you've got nothing to complain about, and you're actually a lot happier. So it comes back to happiness.
That in itself basically helps other people, you know, if you're sending out good energy, that's all you need at the end of the day.
Well, yeah, you're happy, so therefore everything around you is going to be happy.
And basically on your website you kind of stress the importance of love and all that you do. Can you kind of go into that a bit more, what you mean by love exactly in these kind of aspects?
Well, love is an experience, and to me, again, it comes to loving yourself, your aspect of you as an individual. If you don't love every aspect of yourself, then you're almost open to the people picking faults at you. Does that make sense? So it's loving you and loving who you are as an individual, not ego-based love, love as you being connected to everything, being in your heart center, feeling that joy, that passion for life, for living, for loving. And when you're in that heart-centered place, when you come from the heart, everything in truth and essence is love, and everything is so much easier. You know, we talk about the creator is love. And when you're in that place of pure unconditional love, it's like being with a baby. A baby will look at you and they just love you. You can feel it, can't you? It's just that love. And when you're in that space of love, you're so much lighter, you're so much happier, you're so much more joyful. And when you're connecting with people, everything's easy. Everything's so much simpler. So for love, for me, it's loving yourself for your true self and who you are, and loving yourself enough to surround yourself with the people that you want to be around. Loving what you do. It's being in that heart-centered place, really connected to your heart, to your soul, and expressing that in all that you do. It's like in the past when I've cooked a meal, I know when I haven't put love in it because it doesn't taste good. As bonkers as it may seem, it's energy.
I believe in that, actually.
I baked a couple of cakes this week, and so much love has gone into it. You can taste it. It tastes really, really... And you can taste love, but it tastes good. And it's that lovely warm feeling from within, that feeling of love. It's almost like the sun shining on you. And it's that lovely warm feeling of connectedness, of oneness, that you are the centre of your own universe and the universe is the centre of you. And it's just lovely.
Well, that was beautifully said. So just to kind of wrap up, on your website, we've got lots of great testimonials there. It's obviously, testimony to the work that you've been doing. And you also offer a free consultation, a 30-minute consultation, yeah?
Yes, I do.
Just so people can kind of get a feel for you and decide if they want to take it further, yeah?
Well, the 30-minute consultation is for us to build up a rapport. I'm working with people on a very deep level. A lot of personal stuff is going off, and they need to be able to trust me, and I need to be able to trust them. We build a rapport. We talk about the therapies. We talk about what's going off within them. We use a few techniques to see whether it's right for them, because it might not be right for them. And through that 30 minutes, they will engage and understand, say, okay, this is where I want to go, and this is what I want to use, and then we ascertain which therapies we're going to use. So again, it's connecting where the person is, what they want to change, what they want to heal, building that relationship of trust, and taking it to the next step. Opening up yourself to another person is quite a brave thing to do.
Yeah. So how can people get in contact with you? You want to give us your web address and any other way they could do that?
Yeah, absolutely. They can get in touch through my website, www.kambirdee.com. www.kambirdee.com. You can find me on Twitter, Kam Birdee, Skype, Flower of Life, and you just go onto the website. You've got all my contact details, and download your free Positivity and Abundance MP3 as well. Yep. There's an MP3 on there just to help people download, to feel more positive and happier in life, really. Just connect, give me a call, get on the mobile, Skype. There's so many different ways of talking to people. I'd love to work with people. My job here, my purpose is to help people really connect to their hearts and be a lot happier to create a better life for everybody. And I love it.
That's brilliant. I certainly admire the path that you've been on and overcoming all these difficulties and hardships, and what you're putting into the world right now. I think you're somebody to be admired, and appreciate the loving you put out into the universe. So keep on, yeah.
Oh, absolutely, Billy. I love what I do. As I said, I'm a normal person, and through the experiences, I've become to be who I am today. I'm not my past. I'm not my beliefs. I'm not the blame. I'm not the victim. I like being. I love my life. I love being with people. And the more I can share the lightness of my love and my connectedness to the world, the greater the world will be. Just like with you, you share your experiences, and we learn from each other, and we teach each other.
Yeah, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So thanks very much for your time, Kam.
Absolutely.
I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Billy.
We'll catch up again soon. Maybe in a year's time to see how you've got on. We'll maybe have another chat online, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you ever so much for your time, Billy. I really appreciate that.
And all the best with your wedding plans. I know how stressful that's going to be, but you've got the tools to deal with it, yeah?
It's going to be fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Speak framing it. Yeah. Anyway, good luck with that.
It's fun.
Yeah,
Thank you, Billy.
Bye-bye.
You too. Appreciate your help.